In my opinion, there is not a story that has been more influential to both anime and manga than The Journey to the West. And I know some of you might be thinking, but Bob, what about Dragon Ball? The Journey to the West influenced Dragon Ball and many other titles, which in turn went on to influence many other series as well. So today's review is of The Monkey King, a 2-volume long manga series which is still kind of ongoing. Usually I don't like to do a complete review of a series until it's completely out, but with this, I'm not really sure when the 3rd volume will be out. From reading this, I can kind of think that there would only be 3 volumes, but I'm not sure when that's going to come out because the 2nd volume was released in 2012 in the United States. The 1st volume was released in 2005, and I don't know when we're going to get the next volume, if ever, just because even looking this up online, I can't really find more information about it. But The Monkey King is a 2-volume long manga at this point that is full color, that features beautiful art. I will post some of the art around here somewhere so that you can see. So The Monkey King is actually a mature series because it features very graphic violence as well as nudity involved. So I was really expecting a lot more with the story though than what I got with it, but as you can see, each volume is actually pretty thin. I was expecting more, but then as I was reading it, for the story here is actually one of the biggest downsides to this. It's pretty interesting what happens, but it really feels like there was this complete story that was written out, and then they just took out all of the parts that weren't included with a fight, and they just put all the fight scenes together and put it in this. So you get this, these 2 volumes here, which are basically nothing but fights, and it is pretty cool, but the fights don't last long at all. The fights are usually about 3 pages at the most, maybe 4, and Goku just destroys everybody easily. And I say Goku because that is actually the name of the monkey here. And he's not like your Goku that you would know from Dragon Ball. He's actually very violent. You'll see him like bite somebody's head off here, just with a swipe take somebody's head off. He has his power pole here, which of course it's called something different in the manga, but he has his pole here, which does extend, and he can also change its shape. And it's pretty cool because they actually show in the 2nd volume here how he gets that. And what he can do with this, aside from change its shape into like maybe a spear or something, but he can actually impale somebody with it, and then he can expand it and just rip the person up to pieces. And it's just really crazy, a lot of the fights that he has, and he's so OP in here that there's really not a whole lot that stands a chance against him. But whenever he does fight against somebody that gives him a challenge here, it really is crazy because, like, for one instance here, this giant Buddha figure came out of the sky and just blew, and it was this massive explosion that just like slammed him down into the ground, and you could see like the ground just being pulverized all the way around him, and he's just there covered in sand at the end. And there's like one part where he gets his leg cut off, of course, because he's so powerful. I guess he can grow it back. I'm not really sure exactly what all the abilities that he has, just because this story here doesn't really go too much into depth as far as the actual story goes, but it's pretty interesting. It really makes me want to read The Journey to the West and see a lot of the things that are in between a lot of the fights here. So I refer to different series that have influence from The Journey to the West. It feels more like this is an adaptation of the story than a story that was influenced by it. It feels like they took the story to that book and they changed parts of it or whatever, and they were just showing a lot of the fights here. I haven't actually read The Journey to the West. I've read about it, and I've read things about people talking about it, so I know some of the things that happened there, but I haven't actually read it. Of course, about that, I'm looking to buy that. I don't really know which version to pick up because there's like a 500-page book, and then there's like a 1,000-page book, and the 1,000-page book costs like half the price of the 500-page book, and I don't really know which one to get, so I'm kind of on the fence there, but I'm looking at picking that up on my iPad and reading it there. But anyways, the overall story of the Monkey King within these 2 volumes here is that Goku is on a journey of revenge, but he also is carrying with him this monk called Sanzo, and he's not actually a full-grown person or demon or whatever. He's just this small little embryo which is inside of this woman, and the woman is not really important at all because she's simply a vessel, and the embryo can actually change vessels throughout the series if the vessel is damaged or killed. and it just changes, and I really want to know what that is. I really want to see that embryo grow up into maturity and see, what happens there. And there's really a lot of things in here that make me think, like, okay, what happens in between here? What's the whole setup for the story? And it's really beautifully done. Everything here is very beautifully done. Everything, of course, aside from the art style, but it feels like the overall story is very artistic, and I really want to see more to it, but of course, it's very simplistic, so I'm just assuming that I'll have to go and read The Journey to the West, and hopefully there's going to be some sort of interlocking story here that maybe this is just an adaptation of a lot of the fights that happened. I'm not really sure. So it's possible that the Monkey King may have spoiled me to some of the things that happen within The Journey to the West, but I don't really care. I still want to read it. So mostly, the main reasons why I can recommend anybody to pick this up is that if you're looking for something that has a lot of references that you can see, okay, maybe I haven't read The Journey to the West, but I can read this, and I picked up a lot of references that a lot of other animes have, and I'm like, oh wow, so that's where this came from, just assuming that most of this stuff, if not all of the stuff, were things taken from The Journey to the West. So I'm just thinking like, oh wow, some of these things are in Naruto, some of these things are in, a lot of these things are in Dragon Ball Z, and I'm just noticing a lot of different references to a lot of different things within here. And aside from that, simply for the appreciation of the art in general, maybe the story isn't fleshed out and it's just got a bunch of fights and everything, but if you like graphic violence in your manga and you also like very beautiful art, then you would really enjoy these. Of course, it isn't a complete story, but at the same time, the story, even if it was complete, really isn't that deep to begin with. Like I said, you're mostly just getting the fights. It's just a really beautiful series just to read it and appreciate its art and also its references to The Journey to the West, and also with many other anime as well. You can see a lot of similarities. The Monkey King is currently licensed by Dark Horse, and you can pick these volumes up from around $11 to $13, varying prices depending on where you go. So I recommend it if you just want to appreciate this for the art. However, if you want something with a very deep story, then this may not be for you. So anyways, if you've read The Monkey King or The Journey to the West, then let me know your thoughts about it in the comments section below. And also let me know some of the references that you picked up on within other series, because there are a ton of them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.